Welcome to another episode of Dynamic Diecasters, where this week we're going to continue our Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise build, with this one being stages 39 through 42. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 39. Welcome back. Like I said before the break, we're going to be working on stages 39 through 42 this week. And it's going to be a lot of what you've seen in previous episodes for the Enterprise. I think it's going to be a majority of putting together deck panels and installing them, obviously. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 39. We'll go through the parts like I do in every other episode, and then I'll show you the build when I complete it. So first I'll take out all the parts, we'll go through them, and we'll go from there. A lot of screws, so obviously we're going to be installing some deck panels today. So with that, I'll go ahead and go through the parts. The first part is going to be U207 deck panel. Then we've got the escape pod covers, there's 9 of them. Then we've got the right neck front reflector. Then we've got 5 dark windows and 10 clear windows. And then we've got deck panel lights. And then lastly, we've got 12 BM screws, 8 EM screws, and then 3 CP screws. So with that, I'll go through the build, and then in 30 seconds, I'll show you what we did. See you in a few. And that's it for stage 39. So the deck panel that we received in the issue got installed, as well as a couple from previous issues, if you guys remember, or stages, if you guys recall me putting together some. But anyways, they're right in here. So the one from this stage got installed in the bottom, right here, I believe. And then the other 2 got installed on top. So now it's starting to even come across now. But what you can see here is the 2 lightings that I installed, they're lit up. So that's goodness. I like seeing all the lights lighting up. If you guys saw my episode a few weeks ago for my Ghostbusters build, I had an issue where the main light switches weren't working. The sounds were working, the ceiling lights were working, the brake lights were working, but all the other, like the main light switch that turns on the dashboard and other things, was not. So I was kind of a little underwhelmed with that. The other piece we did was we installed the reflector and the lights on the neck panel of the battle station. So this is what it looks like currently. Obviously, it's hooked up to a switch within the battle station, so we're good with that. So that's pretty much what we did in stage 39. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 40. Again, more of the same. We've got a deck panel to put together and a bunch of screws, so odds are we'll be putting more panels on the saucer. Again, we're going to spend a lot of time doing that. As you saw, the saucer was only not even halfway done yet. So got a long way to go on that, because that's just the top portion of it. There's still a whole nother bottom section that has to be completed before it's even done. So a lot left to go. But obviously when we're only on stage 30, well, this is 40 of the build right now. And by the time we finish the episode, we'll be at 42. We're not that far into the build yet, really. In comparison to like Ghostbusters, I think I just completed 69, I think. So with that, this is deck panel U106, and what I figured out is the one in the top, or the first part, represents the row of the saucer that it's in. So this one's obviously going to be on the bottom section somewhere. And then we've got reflector panel U106A, so this will be a panel on this. And then we've got another one, U60A1, so this is the other side of the panel for that deck panel. Then we've got 8 escape pod covers. We've got 10 clear windows again and 5 dark windows. Then we've also got the right neck rear window, so we'll be putting another one on that, or we may not, because there's not a reflector panel. I don't know, it may ask us to fit it, we'll see. But this will go on the next neck panel that isn't finished yet. And then we've got 2 deck panel lights. So we've got this one, and then we've got this one right here. And then lastly, we've got 4 BM screws and 8 DM screws. Not as many as last stage, so we might be installing 1 deck panel versus 2. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll see you in 30 seconds to show you what we did. And that's it for stage 40. So again, we put together one of the deck panels, and then we installed 3 of them. And then we also, like I was saying before, we installed the lights on the neck of the battle station. So we installed this piece here. I'm assuming in one of the next ones we'll get the reflector panel for that, and we'll come close to finishing that whole battle station. But the other thing we did is, now, if you remember from the last issue, we installed these right here. So now it's the whole front panel's done now. So now we've just got most of the back of it to go, which is nice to see that we've got over half of the top done now. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 41. Again, you'll see a lot of repeats in this. Pretty much more deck panels, more lighting, more screws. So I'll pull them out, I'll go over them all, and then we'll go ahead and get started again. Like I said, all these issues will be pretty much the same, so it's kind of, that's interesting. Well, I wonder where that came from, unless that's weird. Okay. It looks like I gotta tie some cables this round. Make everything nice and tidy. There's a lot of windows in this one. And that's the one, if there's a part I don't like the most about these deck panels, it's when I have to do a lot of windows. And this one seems to be one of those stages. If I can get this one out of here. Actually, there's more in here than I... See, this is what I was talking about before. There's these little pieces in here. I think there might have been a little piece that was in there too that broke off or something. But there's two little tiny pieces in here, which I don't even know. It's very odd. It's like remnants. It might actually not be anything. It may be remnants from the dark windows, but just in case I don't want to lose anything. I think one of them is an emitter for the battle station though. So anyhow, we'll go through the parts. First panel is deck panel U304A. And then this is the reflector panel for it. We've got 3 escape pods. And then 20 clear windows. And 20 dark windows. And then, like I was saying, this is the right near rear reflector, so I figured we'd get that in one of these stages. Then we've got the photon torpedo launcher, and that's what I was saying. This little tiny piece. It's like an emitter light for something. And then we've got the deck panel lights right here, and then we've got 3 BM screws, 3 BP screws, and then 5 CP screws. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 41, and I'll show you what we did in about 30 seconds. See you in a few seconds. See you in 30 seconds. That's it for stage 41. So yeah, we basically installed one panel and cable tied stuff. So we installed this panel with, well, we put all the windows and escape patches in it and installed the reflector pad, and then installed the panel to the saucer. That was one part of the stage, and then we completed the battle station up until this point. So now it looks like a full battle station. There's not much left to it. I think just the top section here and maybe some embellishments on the bottom are left to complete that piece. So now we're going to move into stage 42. Again, more panels and other things. So it looks like part of that and those embellishments that I was referring to for the battle station are in this stage, because I see a couple of adhesive parts. But for the most part, it's another panel installation. Trying to get these parts out of here, they're always a pain. It could be easier, but they never really are. I've talked about it earlier, and my issues continue. But, okay, seems to be it for that. So first we've got deck panel U305. Then we've got reflector panel U305A. We've got deck panel lights. We've got 20 clear windows again, but this time only 15 dark windows. Then we've got one screw cover. Which I think is this piece right here. And then we've got our screw cover 1. Then we've got a transporter emitter pad right here. Then we've got screw cover 2, which is this small piece right here. Screw cover 3, which is this piece right here. This is the embellishments I was talking about. And then screw cover 4, there's 2 of them. I assume they're in this bag here. Can't really tell. But then we've got 3 BP screws and 2 CP screws. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on this final stage of this episode, and I'll show you everything that we completed up until this point. See you in 30 seconds. And that's it for stage 42. So what we did in the final stage was we built this panel up right here and we installed it. So that was the first part of stage 42. And the other stage was we covered up all the screw holes on one side of the battle station. So we installed this right here to cover up. As you can see on this side, all the holes are still showing. So we covered up this section, and then we covered up this one on this side. Covered up this right here, put the transmitter or transporter emitter pad right here, and then we put the screw covers in for these on this side. So that's all we did in stage 42. Going forward, let's see, I've got, I think, one more Ghostbuster box, plus another box for the modification, so that'll be 2 episodes. Then we've got one more DeLorean box, and then I think I've got 4 more Star Trek boxes at this point, and then the remaining X-Wing boxes. So we'll complete the X-Wing build, this part with all the Eaglemoss stuff going on. Don't know who's taking it over, if it's getting taken over. So at that point, I've got at least 7 episodes of the Eaglemoss builds remaining, but I do have the Knight Rider build coming up and the Titanic build coming up, plus the solar system build that my son's gonna start doing, and we've got a bunch of boxes for those. So we will have content still coming out replacing these in the interim, depending upon how long it takes, if it ever gets resolved for the Eaglemoss builds. I know in Europe it has, I believe, but they haven't started anything. Anyhow, if you guys like the videos and you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell so you get notified when our videos come out. They typically come out every Friday right now. I don't think that'll change for the future. I think that'll remain our schedule. But the next video that'll be out is another unboxing day video. Then after that, I think it'll be a Ghostbusters build video. But for all of us at the Heart of Geek, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dynamic Diecasters, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.